Hi, welcome to today's question. So, what larger entity are you a part of? So, today's question: what larger entity are you a part of? So, we live in a universe, well, we live on a planet in a universe that for many of us is unknown, apart from what we know within our planet. And even in our planet, we have so much more going on. And one of the privileges I've had in my life so far is being able to go and travel on different continents, in different countries. And what is always surprising me is I realized when I was traveling through South America that I only really needed to know 4 or 5 Spanish sentences. So I really needed to be able to tell people I was good all the time, because even though I was traveling on my own for the first time, and it was very kind of like, this isn't what I ever thought I would be doing on my own. It was better to always say that I'm good, because then people opened up, because they could see sometimes that what you were saying did not match the body language. Second was, can I have a beer? Because I'd want to be able to have a drink wherever I stopped. And where's the toilet? I always think that's a really important one. And thank you. Thank you. Every time I went in to say thank you or I'm okay, I'm able to look after myself. They were kind of the key sentences. And then what I discovered as well is that in different cultures and different times, we all have our individual knowing. We have family and friends, we have community, and we have different cultures, and we have different societal expectations. And I used to say to my mother, because she had very kind of Irish ways of doing certain things, and in a certain type of mindset. And I used to remind her that part of the problem that we had between our communication was that she had sent me off to be educated and to travel. So for her, being somebody who very much has only pretty much gone on holiday to England or a tour of Lourdes in France, her daughter has gone to lots of different denominational schools, has traveled excessively, has gone to university. So my world started to open up differently. It just started to be a wider expansion of knowledge, of my own awareness, of my own self-awareness about how I participated in different situations. And that started to give me a kind of a view that, you know, as long as we are moving in the right direction, as long as we are looking at the bigger picture and just owning our part of that picture and being curious about that picture and doing it from a place of love, of curiosity, of flow, then it can have a wider impact. And one of the things in community psychology, which is why I went into it, it's not a specific type of psychology. It came from clinical and critical psychology. It is based about well-being, which moved from mental health, but it's also about recognizing that we have individual experiences. We will be influenced by our family and community, and then we have the wider societal impact. And it just needs a drop of change, a drop of perspective on an individual internal level that can have a wider impact on all of the systems. And that might happen today, it might happen tomorrow, it might happen next week, it might happen next year, it could happen years from now. And while I was running a lot of the training, I found myself in a position where I was training people, but I wasn't controlling what they were doing in the workplace. For many years, I had worked in a workplace where I would go in, and I'm a quiet learner, so I would just take over. Because that's how I had to learn to do it myself before I could teach other people and get practical. But then I would get frustrated because I would be doing it and not being able to see the bigger picture. When I started to do the training business, I realized that I was training people and giving them their ideas, but I wouldn't necessarily know the impact of those ideas. I wouldn't know how my hypothesis might work in those different organizations. And what was a real revelation to me is that, you know, a couple of years down the track, I would meet people who would have come back to me for information where they had taken just one nugget of information from what I had shared on a training session, and then they had implemented that, and it had a wider change, not only on their confidence in terms of putting that idea out there, but in terms of the wider impact within their organization and how things are perceived. And that's very much coming out of the thinking brain or the ego brain into the body and the somatic experience, that we start to become calm and peaceful. And so it's just having that, owning our own individual knowledge, looking at what we love, looking at what we want to put out there in terms of love. Love is an energy. It's neither right, it's neither wrong. It's about bringing life forward and moving with life forward, and doing it with an open heart, doing it from a genuine place of knowing what you think, knowing how you feel, knowing you can move, knowing that other people can move too, and consciously making choices based on what is in your best interest of your well-being. And so this is about risking sometimes being able to bring a thought or a manifestation into direct contact with the wider influence, and risk maybe humiliation, rejection, or the unknown, or just risk doing it anyway, because by doing it with an open heart, despite the opinions of others, if it feels like love, if it feels like the right thing to move forward, yeah, many people may disagree because people don't like change. We only go for change in this world at this present time if we are pushed that far, if we are pushed into play. We would rather sit in our corner feeling annoyed about something rather than embrace that actually, if I look underneath the bonnet of what that feeling is telling me, I might free myself up to own something that will allow me to go back out and play. And so this is about looking at the larger picture, looking at that there's many other factors going on, and the only person that you have control over is yourself. And if it's a calling of love, which is an important energy, that you are watching for the synchronicities of being able to put out there, because you are being called to put that out there. You know, at a soul level, an intuitive level, that you're being called to bring your curiosity, your creativity into the world, your voice into the world. And for many women over many generations and many lifetimes, we have had those voices of the wider yin, bigger perspective quietened through the generations. And this is about healing that. It's about finding your own unique voice. As part of my research, I was very much looking at how the education system, how we learn, is done in one way. We value one way of knowing. We value that you can go in, you can write, you can do actions, and you can do repetitive learning. I teach you something, you bring it back. What we're looking at here is a new creativity. Well, how if I do it this way, how does that feel? How does that align to myself? And if that doesn't work tomorrow, then how will I do it a different way? Or how do I bring my voice into the room and still feel confident and still feel like the woman I am, and still feel like I'm proposing a new perspective, a new part of being that hasn't really been explored before. It just feels good to me, and I'm going to continue to go around and still say it until I find the people that align with that, so I feel good, recognizing that there may be opposition. So my invitation for you today is to take the Just Stop lesson, so to take some time to go into your body, to really ground yourself, to look into the facts, get out of your head, watch what those thoughts are saying, move into your heart, get grounded, and start to be curious about how you show yourself self-love for your creations, and how you show yourself self-love for the expression of who you are, whether on your personal being, because we have to show ourselves our own love, how we show that to our family, friends, and community, and how that might impact society. Or question, why wouldn't I do that? Am I allowed to do that? And why may some of those thoughts that come up that hold me back from that true expression of my own self-love? And what new ideas and ways of doing things that you wish to offer. And just to give you a short description of this, when I was doing a navigation course. I think I was doing a navigation course on sailing by the stars. It was my ocean yacht master. I think that's the theory I was doing. And I was the only girl with about 10 lads. And all of the guys were engineers. They were mathematical background. Now, I did do maths at university. I have a very, very mathematical background. I just view it in some different ways. I have a different way of coming at it. And I remember that some people got a bit kind of upset because I couldn't quite do it the way they were telling me to do it. I had to find a different way in. I had to find a different feeling in, because for me, feeling is everything. For me, it's about the feel of things. If things feel off, I find it difficult to ground. If people are in their heads all the time thinking, I find it overwhelming. For me, the most important is to feel the feeling. That's really where I come from. That's the way I learn. And I remember the instructor at the end of it saying to me, is like, your way of doing things is different, but it brings the same result, or even a better result sometimes, because I look at it in a different way. I look at it from the larger perspective. I look at it from the larger entity. I look at the framework and then the bits that fall into it. And that's a very quite creative way of looking at things. But I spent years trying to do it. And there's the key word, when you're trying to do something in a way and then getting frustrated and angry that my voice, or I was removing my voice from the conversation because there was more dominant voices in that conversation of what they thought the way they should be. And then that creates not self-love within oneself. That creates anger, and underneath that there's hurt, and it's releasing that hurt so you can let love come back up again, recognizing that, you know, that may not be the best group of people to be hanging around with. Maybe I should move and create something where I feel there's more communication, or within that. And so the love and that feeling good is about learning those lessons, but it guides us. We go in a flow when we are following our love, and it will be unique to everybody else. So it's about bringing out that joy and creativity and starting to look for the little landmarks that are starting to point you in the direction of where your voice, your love flows, so that you are living in your present, aligning to your present, and then recognizing there is a bigger picture, but I'm only here and I just want to be in my present. And that's really what I wanted to say to you today. So open yourself up to receiving your own wisdom. Open yourself up to recognizing that you are love, that you are here to create, and that you have ideas that are offering. And look for the places where you feel supported in sharing those, and where you feel you've been held back. Just look for the lessons in that. Remember, get back into the ground. You have thoughts, you have feelings, you can move. Other people have that too, but we're not responsible for other people. But we can learn lessons from that interaction so that we can move forward, or we can make a choice to heal that in the way that works for us, so that we have more self-love, we have more peace, and we have more joy. So that's where I'm going to leave it for you today. Remember, the first person one leads is oneself, mind, body and spirit. I hope you have a wonderful day, whatever you're doing. If you like this video, please like, share, send it on. If you are a woman who's creative or entrepreneurial, please join our group. My name's Viv Bannigan. I own Granuaile Limited, is a bespoke training and mentoring company, and I support creative and entrepreneurial women who feel stuck, overwhelmed, not sure about the next step in their journey. And what I do is share with them our key framework called a MAP, which works through mastery, action and passion, so that they can take back control of the reins of their journey and move forward with clarity and confidence. So till next week, have a wonderful day. I'm off for a walk in the sun. Cheerio, bye.